Welcome to Mother-Daughter Projects. I'm Steph.
I'm Vicki.
And today we're going to install a barn door with all the hardware included.
Now we're standing in front of my hall bathroom, and it's a very small space, and it had an inward facing or inward moving door, which always was a pain because you had to literally get all the way in the bathroom before you could close the door. So we decided a sliding door would be great for the space for more function and more room.
Yeah, so we actually installed a barn door a couple years ago in Mom's laundry room for about the same reason. And so when we saw this one at Costco, we realized this is a good deal, $220.
Sold.
Yes.
Put it in the cart.
Yes, which was a little difficult because it was heavy and awkward, but we got it in the car.
We did. Didn't even have to ask for help.
Yes, but I would suggest bringing an extra buddy just in case. And speaking of extra buddy, my friend Jason was in town and he's been wanting help with the Mother-Daughter Project, so this was a perfect opportunity because this door was a little heavy, so we appreciated all the extra hands.
So come join us and we should show you how we installed this in about an afternoon.
Yeah. We started by unboxing the door. There's a big red label that says hardware pack, so you can't miss it. We reviewed the instructions and laid out all the parts to double check that we had everything, and then it was time to get started. Then we removed the door from the box. The next step with most barn door projects is to add a header board. It's unlikely that the holes in the rails are going to line up with the studs in our wall. That's why we have to first add a header board and then the rail to the header. We put it in place knowing that we wanted the door to roll to the right side. But before we connected anything, we brought the door in place just to check that it was aligned correctly with the header board. We followed the instructions and put the header board in place, which is basically right above the door frame. The manual has this all written out, but we wanted to double check before we attach everything because we've installed a barn door before and we really understand the importance that everything lines up perfectly. We marked the header board location, and then Mom started to find the studs in the wall using a magnetic stud finder. Then we lined up exactly where the studs were and marked the sticky note so that we could find the exact location when the header board was in place. And before we added the header board, we decided to add the hardware to the door just to triple check the placement of everything before we attach the header. The kit comes with everything you need and it's very straightforward. Once we made sure everything was good, we drilled pilot holes and then attached the included screws. It was at this point that we realized they gave us black screws for a white header board and no paint to cover these up. So that was a bit of a fail, but we didn't have time to go buy white screws. We added 8 screws in all, and each of us took a turn. We used the 12-inch carpenter square to make sure we were lined up with the mark on the sticky note, which is how we knew that we were right over a stud. Once that was done, we grabbed the rail and figured out the placement. We followed the manual measurements on this, and it all seemed correct. So we leveled out the bar and marked the screw holes. We drilled pilot holes through all 4 of these, but before we added the rail, we added the soft close mechanism to each end of the rail. And then we attached the roller stoppers. We held the bar in place and put a spacer behind each hole and added the bolts. We started with a hand wrench and then grabbed our battery-powered ratchet, which made quick work of this. Done! Jason and I grabbed the door and tested it out, and it held! Then we placed the roller stoppers exactly where we want the door to start and stop. Then we mark the location of the floor guide. You would typically screw this into place, but we have tile here, so we prefer to epoxy it into place, which is what we did with our first barn door, and it's still holding strong. Mom mixed the epoxy and put it in place. This cures in about 1 hour. This is an important step as it keeps the door from swinging out. Lastly, we adjusted the soft close mechanisms. We placed the door and screwed in the actuators on each side. At first it wasn't working, but we soon realized the top part was a little bit too low, so we unscrewed it and adjusted the height so that it engaged the soft close. Then we removed the old door and Mom filled in the old hardware spots on the door with some basswood that I cut to size with my Cricut Maker machine. She glued them in place, then puttied around them and painted the frame white. Time to test it out! What we learned! This is the manual right here, and I will say it's not that great. The price is great, the manual not so much, but we did follow it to a T, and on the instructions there is actually this really long web address where there's a video. It's supposed to be a video of the manual, but it actually is a video that is completely different than the manual, so I don't recommend necessarily watching that because it made it more confusing. But we followed the manual that came with the door exactly, and that's what we're showing in our video today.
Now we talked about the screws that were included for the header are black, and we didn't realize that until we got ready to install it. I would have preferred white screws. So if you don't want black screws that show, then make sure you get those white screws well ahead of putting this thing in.
And as we mentioned, the door is kind of heavy, so when you go to Costco to pick it up, maybe have some extra people there with you, and make sure your vehicle is big enough. So measure that before you go, because we got it fit in the van that we have, but I don't think it would have fit in anything smaller. And also, it was definitely helpful to have extra hands when we were installing the door, although Mom and I are able to carry the door by ourselves, but it was a little difficult, so having Jason there was definitely helpful.
Now this is a bathroom door, and a bathroom door does need a lock, and we have tried to find a latch. We've tried 5 different latches and still haven't found one that's going to work, but we're going to keep on it, and if we find one before this video is finished editing, you will see that right now.
And if you like this video, please give us a big thumbs up, and if you super like it, feel free to leave us a financial donation by super thanking us below. And if you want to see more projects from us, don't forget to visit us at motherdaughterprojects.com. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.